We start.
Okay.
Hello. Sir, you can begin.
Am I? Okay, okay. Am I audible?
Hello.
Hello. Sir, am I audible? Hello. Hello. Am I audible, Kunal sir? Okay. So, good morning, sir, and one and all who are listening me. I am Sahil Khatri from the Automobile Department. It is a great honor and privilege for me to welcoming you, sir, to this webinar, Impact of BS6 Engine on Indian Automobile Industry. On behalf of the Pal University, let me introduce our expert, Mr. Akash Dave, sir, who has been associated with automobile industry since 9 years. He had a versatile experience in new product development in research and development department. Presently, he is working as an assistant senior manager in Escorts Limited, Haryana. So, by not wasting much more time, I am handing over this session to Akash sir. Sir, please.
Hello. Good morning, guys. Thank you, Mr. Sahil, for providing a brief introduction. So, without wasting time, we shall start our agenda. So, this would be our agenda. Following to 5 points: difference between BS diesel and petrol engines, difference between BS4 and BS5, BS6, difference between BS4 petrol, BS6 petrol and BS6 diesel engines, and what is their impact on Indian automotive industries, and further the components of diesel engine requirement. This is the basic agenda of today's presentation. So let's start with the basic difference between petrol and diesel engines. So, as you all know, this is a typical small working of petrol engines. So, you can go through it. If there is any doubt, you can ask me or WhatsApp Mr. Sahil for that. This is in petrol engine. We are having a spark plug in here, which is exactly in the center of intake valve and exhaust valve, and it generally works on four principles: suction, compression, power, and exhaust, which you must have studied along, and this is a basic principle in which it works. So this is a typical working of petrol engines. This petrol engine works on Otto cycle. uh, Otto cycle is a typical cycle which is only used for petrol engines, not any other engines. Yes, it is. If you use it on two-wheelers as well, it is used on two-wheeler as well and in four-wheeler as well. This is a diesel engine schematic diagram from where engine exhaust gas release and air intake and fuel gas mixture and everything is here. It is also known as internal combustion engine. In this diesel engine, we don't require any spark plug to ignite the fuel. The reason being is that the compression, you can see this blue color registered area here. Hello? Sahil, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible, sir. Continue,
Hello?
continue.
The blue color combustion is here in this chamber is nothing but fuel and air. When it get compressed, it get ignite automatically. When it ignites, that gas it generates power which is used to run the diesel engine. So now coming to the second point of agenda, that is what is the difference between BS4 and BS6. To understand this, what is the difference between BS4 and BS6? We need to understand where this BS6 and BS4 comes from. There is a government agency, Bharat State Emission standards. Reference is from European countries, and it provides us the exhaust emission, which gas will vehicle will emit, or which gas in how much quantity it should emit. This is the only reason because of which we have introduced BS4 and BS6. Now you must have heard that BS5 has been skipped. That is, Euro 5 norms have been skipped. Why it has been skipped? Because in India in 2000 we have launched Euro 1, which was known as Euro 1, means BS1. Then following after 5 years we have launched BS2. Then following to 5 years, that is in BS 2010, we have launched BS3 as well. But you can see there is a gap of 7 years in between BS3 and BS4. If we introduce BS4 on, there is a gap of 7 years. If we introduce BS5 at the between 3 years of gap, which is not much likely to happen, because it requires many years for R&D, and lots of investment is required for launching BS5, that is Bharat Stage 5 and Euro 5 norms. Reason of that, we have skipped this BS5 and directly introduced BS6 in order to compete with other nations and documentaries. So we have launched BS6 in 2020. That is upcoming. Upcoming by November, we will be in full development vehicles. Difference between BS4 and BS6 is their emission norms. What emission norms? In passenger vehicle, you can see this petrol passenger vehicle. The nitrous oxide in BS4 is 80 mg. 80 mg is milligram, and in BS6 we have to deal it to 60 mg. However, there is no particulate matter in BS4. Same is required in BS6. The challenge which we are facing currently is for diesel passenger vehicle or diesel vehicle only, which is, you can see that there is a huge of difference between. In BS4 you are having a norm of 250 milligrams. That is, per vehicle 250 milligram NOx is permittable, but in diesel vehicle in BS6 it has been restricted to 80 mg. However, there is a huge gap between 80 and 250, which is on and around 170 mg, which requires a much better technology to exempt it. Same way is particulate filter, and same is on hydrocarbons and NOx. You can see the difference between 2.5 and 4.5 and 300 mg to 170 mg, which is more or less 50% lesser than BS4. So it requires a very much intense technology to develop it. The impacted areas. This is one of the best, you can say, developed technologies in India or outside. That requires that got an impact by investment. The impact gets investment is to be done by manufacturers as well, by consumer as well, by government as well. Because I will discuss this in following slides. Then second challenge is adaptation to Indian market. We require infrastructure as well, BS6 fuel as well, urea availability as well, etc. And then let us comes on the technology part. Technology consists of SCR, EGR, OBD, etc. These are the technologies which helps in dealing with exhaust norms and or to reduce the exhaust norms, which we have discussed in previous slide. These pollutant gases and BS6 and BS4 norms. So investment and adaptation to Indian market. Moving from BS4 to BS6 is very difficult. Why? Because of all the exhaust norms are very strict than BS4. If one thing is missed, entire calculations and everything has to go wrong. So for that we need a much better engine technologies that gets improved due to combustion, calibration, increased injection, cylinder power, exhaust system which get DPF, degeneration, SCR technology, etc. When all this technology gets inversed, there is a huge requirement of safety as well. So, in order to adapt this technology, Indian automotive has to introduce many this safety features like ABS has been made compulsory in some vehicles. Airbags has been made compulsory. Other safety features are also going on. That is sleep detection. While moving, you cannot sleep. If you sleep, the vehicle will be parked automatically outside the road. That is in transverse bay. Then adaptation to Indian market is not only in terms of that customer should adapt it, but we as a testing engineer or any engineer, we should know how to test it, how this optimization helps, and how to fit DPF, DOC, SCR technology, and how it plays, it works, or how it should be get in or get out. This is the reason why BS6 technology is available outside India as well, but we cannot implement because of lack of knowledge or lack of sharing knowledge. We can say it. So we have developed this DPF and SCR technology in India, and we need to produce this as well. So these are the basic components required for BS6 diesel engine. You can see that most of the challenges which we are facing in this is in diesel engine. That is, we require much more advanced technology to accommodate this BS4 and BS6 from 250 to 80, 25 to 4.5, 300, due to which of technology and precisely we have to work on. So first of all is diesel oxidation catalyst, DOC. It is a short form DOC, and we generally call it as DOC only. It reduces the maximum hydrocarbon, carbon dioxide emission, and small moderate amount of particulate filter as well. Second technology is particular oxidant catalyst, POC, which is in short we call it as POC. That it is the technology used in DPF system to filter the exhaust emission. That is, you cannot around 45 to 50% of particulate matters get filtered in this technology. Then following to it is diesel particulate filter, then SCR system, urea system, NOx observed catalyst, lean NOx catalyst. These are the systems which we developed in India by learning from some other countries, and we are continuously further engineering in them. Reason of which is that we are able to achieve 20% of less from 20% lesser of the amount which foreign countries have used, and we are using them 20% less. Suppose if foreign country or Europe has developed that in 100 rupees, we have developed in India it is at 80 rupees, which is that we are having a benefit of 20 rupees on this system. This is just on around random calculations. This is a simple example of exhaust layout for BS6. You can see this blue color tank over here is an AdBlue, which is nothing but composition of the urea, that is automotive grade urea and tap water. This is a schematic diagram for that. You can see this exhaust gas here. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbon, particulate matter filter, NOx sensors. These two here are NOx sensor. Where exhaust gas enters, these NOx sensors calculate senses the amount of nitrogen oxide that is present in exhaust system, which has to be filtered by DOC, DPF, by urea dosing unit, particulate matter, SCR catalyst. Reason of which there are two temperature sensors in here. One is in between DPF and DOC. Second is opposed to DPF. Reason of which, when you reduce the temperature, NOx temperature, it automatically reduces its own temperature. Reason of which the two sensors have been used. In addition to this, there are other technologies which are being used by us, by Indian automotive industries. That is engine CAN system, diagnostic CAN system, BOS supply module for urea dosing and injecting, and some other technologies are used as well. So we would be focusing on NOx sensor, DPF, DOC, Part A SCR, catalyst, urea dosing unit, and dosing unit and supply module. This is a typical just layout of lambda sensor, which we use in, which is also known as a temperature sensor as well. So these 2 points, first is in here, in between DOC and DPF. Second is post DPF, that is after DPF we have placed it to get the temperature of exhaust which is coming from DOC and which is getting out of DPF. So this is used. How lambda sensor works is in here. It is having a voltage of 2.8, 0.2 to 0.8 volts. It gets operated. When it reaches to 0.9 volt, it means the fuel and exhaust system diesel particulate are very rich. Rich by means fuel and air mixture is very well, and it can be reduced. How it will be reduced? It will be reduced by DPF system as well as SCR system. When you can when this volt 0.2 to 0.8 volt gets converted into 0.45, it is at equilibrium point, which says the fuel and mixture is not very rich, but it is okay. The mixture is okay. You can balance the output. Output means the exhaust system can balance its output. It has to inject less urea in it. Then third is when you read the voltage of 0.1, the mixture is very lean. That is, very less amount of fuel is in there and more amount of air is in it. So this is a typical operation when exhaust system. This is a exhaust system. When exhaust gas emitted, it gets Zygonomy membrane. It gets reflected and it gives you fresh air. It gets into fresh air. Reason of which it gets filtered in here and gets the temperature of exhaust system by generating a voltage. This is typical layout of oxygen sensor which we place at every end. This is a zinc dioxide ceramic metal which is helps in detecting temperature and NOx sensor cultivating activities as well. This wide band Zyncron sensor is used widely by all the automotive company and every the electronic company which works on exhaust system or any other system as well. When this it is placed, the content chamber gets generated to pump current. When if the pump current and Zyncron are met each other, they get reflected as a single voltage current. When the single voltage current is generated, you can have that. You can see this. You can read this table, go through this table, and it around generates a voltage of at 350 degrees centigrade. When the temperature reaches to 350 centigrade, it doesn't work. Before that, it works clearly without any failure. This is diesel particulate filter, which we have placed in here. You can see DPF in here. This is diesel particulate filter, and this is different pressure sensor. Diesel particulate filter, what it does is, before there is a membrane. You can see this grill here. The grill is kind of a membrane in here, which particulates the filter, which it particulates the diesel filter, which gets exhausted and rises the temperature and other harmful gases. So this what does this DPF does is it generates blocks the filter and allows it non-harmful gas to pass away from this filter. When this filter it blocks, it generates a carbon dioxide and other gases, and it gets stored in the jar below here. This is the place where jar is available, and it gets accumulated there. When it gets accumulated, it has to be burned or it has to be removed. So you cannot remove it, so you have to burn it. When you burn it, there are two philosophies or two methods which applies in there. That is, one is DPF regeneration. It can be done actively as well and passively as well. So this is a schematic diagram of diesel particulate filter. Diesel particulate, how it works? Dirty exhaust, when it gets entered in here, when it gets entered through exhaust system, there is a catalytic layer in diesel particulate filter. You can see the gray color layer over here is a diesel particulate is it that layer of catalytic layer, which due to this catalytic layer that a chemical reaction takes place, due to which all the hydrocarbon and NOx sensors get disintegrated and generates this CO, carbon dioxide, water, and NOx form. It gets generated into carbon dioxide, water, and NOx form. Reason of which, from here you get disintegrated part of exhaust in whatsoever the exhaust gases passes from here. At DPF level, you can filter it from carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and water. Water will be in a form of vapor, reason of which you cannot see the droplets from it. This is the particulate filter membrane which I was talking to you. This membrane plugs the around 90 to 95% of exhaust gas that is which gets emitted from dirt exhaust. This, you can see the blockage over here. This gray shield over here is blocking the unwanted carbon dioxide or NOx sensors to pass through which have been missed by following two chemical reactions. When this particulate filter gets covered, it gets generated, it gets accumulated on the top of the in this kind of jar. So in this jar, there is a polarized wall which collects the soot. The soot is basically nothing but a byproduct of this system. When the soot is got collected, we have to burn it. How we can burn it? By active generation, which happens at particular temperature in vehicle as well. If you miss to if vehicle or system misses to generate this degeneration, it can be passively or manually be regenerated by burning. You have to give an ignition cycle to this soot accumulation area. That is called as passive regeneration. It can be provided by OBD tool as well. This is coated DPF. This is the schematic diagram of DPF. In here you can see this the balls in here are nothing but outside soot particles, that is exhaust gas particles. This exhaust gas particle gets filtered by walls. You can see this in diagram. This is the typical layout of DPF system. There you can see a membrane, a layer, and a matrix chamber, resulting which this matrix chamber helps in filtration process. Filtration of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, nitrogen dioxide, nitrous oxide, NOx, PM, everything gets filtered over here. The result of being which the soot accumulation is getting much and much in here. The soot remains in DPF until the regeneration, either passively or actively. Back pressure usually returns to normal after soot is gone. Correct. You can see this. This is one where soot is missing, and you can see the pressure. How pressure is going up widely and speedily. And this is the second where the soot is getting accumulated and it is not generating pressure. So what happens when the pressure is not generated or pressure is not built up? You cannot go beyond particular speed. you cannot go beyond particular speed. Yes, correct. You cannot go beyond particular speed. When you don't go beyond particular speed, that gives you trigger on the instant that the suit has been accumulated and regeneration has to be done. If regeneration is not being done, what happens is your vehicle will be in lympho mode. Lympho mode is a mode in vehicle in only in this is particularly in BS6 diesel engines. It is in lympho mode. What is this lympho mode means is lymphobiums is a particular mode in which vehicle will not run beyond 1200 or 1500 RPMs. When vehicle doesn't reach 1200 to 1500 RPMs or lesser than that, you cannot go at a above speed of 20 or 30 km per hour. This restricts your speed. Consumption of diesel or fuel will be more. Improper exhaust system will work, and for releasing your exhaust emissions, exhaust filters will be chopped, and for that you need to visit dealership and get it regenerated. This is a catalytic reaction which will take place, which we have discussed over here. The catalyst layer. This is the chemical reaction which takes place, which will be taking place in here. These get degenerated into nitrous oxide. SCR will generate into hydrocarbon, that is H2O, which is in water form, which will be diluted. You can see in this in here as well. NOx sensor and urea when gets together, USR and nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide and water will be as an outlet. You can H2O will be in outlet position. So what is this urea? We have discussed over here, and we are discussing in everywhere that it will be demerged by dosing module and supply module. So what is this urea? What is typical use of urea? What urea is? Urea is nothing but a fluid which floats in exhaust system. This AdBlue, it is also called as AdBlue as well. So how you can make is when you have a automotive grade urea, the only two ingredients are used to prepare the AdBlue. Which one is automotive grade urea and second is deionized water. And this automotive grade urea is very, it is non-flammable first thing, but it gets toxic when no amateur peoples. So urea is when it gets injected, it reacts with exhaust gases. It reacts with exhaust gases and departiculate filters, and it will provide you whatever soever the exhaust gas may be into nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide and hydrocarbon. That is the H2O, that is in water. Whatsoever other gases will be blocked in this coated filter. When this coated filter gets evaporated, it freezes at minus 12 degree Fahrenheit, which is at minus 11 degree, which is particularly not possible in India. So first thing we don't have to use anti-freezing agent in this. Result of not using anti-freezing antibody is we can save on an average around of 17,000 rupees per year. By customer will be saving on around 17,000 of rupees per year in his particular on his particular vehicle. The temperature range for is approximately 70 to 80 degree for its operation. When temperature sensor detects that exhaust temperature which are getting emitted from DPF is between 70 or 80, it will directly inject urea in exhaust system. When the temperature is more, this supply module will sense the temperature from the temperature sensor. When temperature is more, the dosing module will spray urea from urea tank to exhaust system. When this exhaust system when this urea gets into a dosing module, it gets mixture in a particular manner. In SCR catalyst. You can see in here. This is an SCR catalyst. what this SCR catalyst do, it drops the amount of NOx and nitrogen oxide in the exhaust system. And one more drawback is it is contains ammonia in it. Reason of which in AdBlue it contains ammonia. Reason of which this smells like this smells very bad. And when it smells very bad, if you inhale this, you can be fainted or get fainted very precautionary and fully and clean fully. This is DPF tank. This is DPF tank, and this is a schematic diagram of DPF tank. This tank contains a urea. That is this here. One more thing. Sorry, I forgot to introduce this. From now onwards, whatsoever the BS6 vehicle you would be using or you would be see, there you can see beside this diesel filler cap, you can see a small cap. This is a DEF or AdBlue cap, which would be available to you. From this AdBlue tank, you would be filling urea in urea tank. Urea chamber means urea chamber and urea tank will be provided below passenger seat or below rear row passenger seat or at the end of the vehicle, that is at rear overhang of the vehicle. Yeah, this is a schematic view or typical 3D view or cut view of DPF tank, that is a urea tank, which is available in most of passenger vehicles. It is an rectangular shape, which helps in accommodation in passenger vehicle. This is a serve tray in where it gets accumulated. This is a breather or ventilation which is provided to tank. This is a filler tank. From this blue cap, you will be filling directly urea in this. This is reducing agent or delivery module. It will suck the urea from urea tank and will deposit in exhaust system. Result of which the exhaust gases will be minimized and exhaust gas will be minimized and your exhaust norms will be met. Second is the capacity of this urea tank is on and around 5 gallons. That is around 16 to 17 liters of urea is available in passenger vehicles. However, in passenger vehicle I mean is by a car only. In car only there is a gap of 16 liters, whereas in trucks or in any other you can have a urea tank of 220 liter as well and 330 liter as well. It depends on the category of the vehicle you use. Now, one thing is, where should we use this DPF technology or DEF technology or urea tank or something like that? So, any of the Indian automotive vehicle which is above 180 HP, 180 horsepower, you need to use this SCR or urea dosing technology. Reason of it, because all the vehicles which are having horsepower of 180 above 180 has generates more amount of carbon nitrogen oxide inside the vehicle and on the vehicle as well. So below 180 you can use EGR system. EGR, what is exhaust gas recirculation? You can recirculate the exhaust gas, which will further reduce the exhaust gases, that is NOx sensor, nitrogen oxide or carbon dioxide or hydrocarbons. Urea dosing and injection. And this is a dosing module which will be placed before SCR system. This you can see dosing module in here. this is the dosing module which injects urea in exhaust system. Result of which it will get mixture, it will get heated up, additional pump heater, etc. It will do n number of activities in here. When it does this activity, it reduces the exhaust emission. When the exhaust get emitted, when exhaust gas are emitted, it will reduce its composition, and you can have a very minor amount of nitrous oxide and nitrogen oxide and hydrocarbons available in outside your exhaust cell. Reason of which this our target will be met. What were our target? Our target was 80 mg of nitrogen oxide, 4.5 mg of particulate filter, and 170 of hydrocarbon and nitrous oxide. This will be made in diesel engine by using all this activity, all this component. Components are DOC, once again DOC, DPF, SCR catalyst, AdBlue tank, DPF, supply module, dosing module, temperature sensor, and NOx sensor. Yes, there is another sensor as well, different pressure sensor. This is a different pressure sensor. It works on two way. What pressure has been inserted inside, and at what pressure exhaust gas are getting emitted. Both the activities are done by only one agent. This is different pressure sensor. So with this, Sahil, sir, I would like to end this my presentation. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, sir.
Am
This
I audible?
was the end of my presentation.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
yes, you are audible.
Okay. Sir, there are many questions from the student side. My first question is, what is the approximate cost difference between BS4 and BS6 engine? The students are asking this question.
You are talking of petrol engine or diesel engine?
Both.
See, in petrol engine, there is no much difference. In petrol engine, there is only a difference amount of 5 to 10,000 rupees. But in the diesel engine, it will get costlier by 80 to 90,000 rupees per vehicle. That is, except while getting it on road, you will have a difference of 1 lakh rupees around.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes. Hello.
Yeah, petrol engine are not getting costlier, but diesel engine are getting costlier. Diesel engine, you can have a price difference from BS4 to BS6 around 1 lakh rupees or to 1.5 lakh rupees.
Okay, sir. So the next question is, what are the effects of the vehicle performance by shifting towards from BS4 to BS6?
Performance will get much better in BS6.
Okay.
Performance will be better in BS6, and due to reason because of which performance will get it will have an additional safety as well. First of all, safety will be increased and performance is going to definitely be increased because of all this technology. When combustion gets reached, you can get more power of the vehicle. So by this, general question is whichever the BS6 diesel vehicle is available, the performance will get higher. It will give you much better performance than BS4.
Hello.
Yes, performance will get higher side.
Okay. So the next question is, why government introduced within 3 years of short span BS4 engine? Hello.
Yes, come again, Sahil.
Why government introduced within a short span of 3 years of BS4 engine?
Mm-hmm. Just a moment. I would like to give brief on this.
Okay, okay.
You can just a moment, Sahil. You can see the government body at BS4 was introduced very late. By around 2 years, it was every introduction of BS2 to BS1 to BS2, BS2 to BS3, and BS. You can see there is a gap of 5 years. Correct? You can see, Sahil. Hello. This is 2000. This is 2005. This is 2010 till BS3. That is BS1 was launched in 2000, BS2 was launched in 2005, BS3 was launched in 2010, and then later on BS4 was launched in 2017. There is a gap of 7 years. If the government introduces this BS5 at 2020, you can see the huge amount of cost impact will be there, huge amount of infrastructure development will be there, and the difference between BS5 and BS6 are not much on higher side or lower side. So this it was better to skip BS5 in this and to introduce BS6. And one of the reason to introduce BS6 earlier, which is 3 years, that we are lagging on international front for development of safety, exhaust norms, and everything. And this decision was taken very late by government to introduce BS4. Reason of this, which we have got a very less span in introduction of BS6. Hello.
Oh, yes, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, one next question from the student side. What are the drawbacks of the BS6 implement in India?
Drawback is first is we are not having a urea. We are not having a full fledged of urea in India. So we have to bring it from outside India. That we have to import the urea system. Urea basically AdBlue fuel, AdBlue in India. There is an filtration process which needs to be done for BS6 fuels. So this fuel comes. This fuel has to be filtered in industries. It may be Reliance or CS or BPCL. It has to be get filtered. So it will require a huge amount of investment in industry as well. Second is our infrastructure, that is road or dealership are not fuel stations are not that much developed that can be able to store BS4 diesel, BS6 diesel, and which is a very harmful, which is very flammable. People are not yet. These are the main drawbacks of BS6. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Hello.
Yes. Well, go on. Next question.
Okay.
Please.
The next question is there any impact on agriculture industry by shifting towards from BS4 to BS6 for farmers
No,
in
there won't
using
be any
tractors?
impact because so there won't be any change. But in India, what we are having is we are having a segment. This is the best thing which India is having at particular stage. That are having automotive. We have segregated agriculture field and automotive field for this. We automotive agriculture field can still use BS4 and BS4 vehicle as well for their farming. Farming use it for anything. Farmers are allowed to use BS6 vehicle as well. Sorry. So reason for this is that farmers are the backbone of the India country, and you cannot directly hammer on their backbone. So it to come BS6 in yes, there is research going on for BS6 in farm equipments as well. It will take still time in India to go from BS4 to BS6 directly in agriculture segment. No tractor, backhoe loader or anything will be in BS6 currently. If you want to use BS6, it is well and good. If you don't want to use, you can use BS4 as well.
Okay. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Sir, the next question is, are BS4 vehicle are phased out, or we can use who cannot afford BS6 vehicle? There is one question from the student side. Can I repeat?
You whosoever is having BS4 vehicle can use it, but on further you cannot purchase new BS4 vehicle. You have to purchase BS6 vehicle only. When this BS6 norms gets implemented, it is applicable in all entire automotive sections or entire. And with this you cannot play anything, so you cannot buy BS4 vehicle. Yes, if it is available on second hand or anything, you can transfer it to your name and then you can use it, can be done, but you cannot purchase new vehicle from dealership.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, go on, Sahil.
Sir, the next question is there any impact due to COVID-19 on shifting towards BS4 to BS6 in India?
Yes, there has been an impact due to COVID-19, but at what extent it will be, it is still unknown. But from our side, that is the industrial side, is you cannot say it an impact, but we can say that we are on a safer side. Because of COVID-19, we have got some time and some literacy from government to support the economy and to get our research completed we get some time to complete our research. And the most worst effect is that there in past 2 months there was no sales of automotive or any commercial vehicle or any passenger vehicle or any tractor in India. So this had impacted the economy, backbone of economy, or sludged the economy to a very peak level.
Okay, sir. Sir, there is one next question from student side. What will happen to BS4 vehicles after BS6 rollout? Means BS4 are not selling new. So what will happen to that vehicles?
That vehicle, that depends on the company. See, you are talking about the inventory or the vehicle which are in stock, or that has been supplied to customer. What you are talking about?
Sir, in stock.
Are you talking of registered vehicle or unregistered vehicle?
Unregistered vehicle, sir.
So whatsoever the unregistered vehicle would be bear by the company, that can have a they can change from BS4 to BS6 by changing some parts in the vehicle. You change entire exhaust system and introduce some sensors, that is NOx sensor and temperature sensor. You can get that vehicle would be converted to BS6. So that charges and everything would be bear by the company. That is, whosoever it will be, either it may be Tata, Maruti, Hyundai, Volkswagen. That will be backed by them. So they would be changing their parts from BS4 to BS6.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, yes. Go on, sir.
Yes, sir. In continuation with the above question, the student is asking that means BS4 existing vehicles which are not registered. So is it possible to convert them
Mm-hmm.
directly in BS6 by changing some of the parts or some of the modifications?
Yeah, Sahil, first thing is when the vehicle is unregistered or it is not sold. And second, if vehicle has been registered and it has been sold, it is solo property of the customer. Correct? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Listening.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Audible.
once the vehicle, if the vehicle is unregistered or not built yet, it is the property of particular company. Either it may be Hyundai or whatever OEM it may be. When it gets sold or built or registered, it is a solo property of the customer. If the property is of customer, then customer means we as a buyer who has the owner of the vehicle. It is his responsibility. So what he wants to do, if he wants to make a change or modification, he can do it at his end. Or second thing is that if he wants to buy a BS6 vehicle, he can approach the dealership or a company and can ask for exchange. The company will support him with the addition of minimal amount that needs to be provided to the company or and needs to be bear by the customer.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, yes, I'll go on.
Uh, Sir, there is one question from the student side.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is our future as an automobile engineer in a
Mm-hmm.
future industry?
The if you, future is very bright. Future is very very bright because you can see there are many automotive industries we are shifting from China currently. Yeah, you must have heard of MG Motor Hectors has shifted its base from China. It is a Chinese company owned by an US person, has shifted its base from China to India. He is bringing many other countries. The Great Wall Motors are coming in India. The Skymit Motors are coming in India. SCIAT is coming in India. So the future of Indian automotive is very bright. And second thing, an automobile engineer about is their government is providing a subsidy or you can say financial support to the engineers or mechanical engineers or you can say automobile engineers who are developing there who wants to be an entrepreneur in automotive field or any other field, so or related to automotive only. If they want to be an entrepreneur, government is supporting for automobile field only. You can say that one of my friend is working in was working in MG Motors. He started his own motors company, that Ajay Motor Company. He is developing minor parts of commercial vehicle and as well as passenger vehicle. You can see bonnet. He is manufacturing the bonnets of the company, bonnet for the company. Sorry, with the help of government. So the future of automobile is very bright and very shining.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, yes. Go on, sir.
Sir, one last question is very interesting from the student that will the
Mm-hmm.
BS6 affect on second-hand automobile market in next 3 to 5 years?
Not in 3 to 5 years, but it will impact after post 5 to 7 years. Yes, it will affect second-hand market. The reason for be affecting is first is that BS4 vehicle, whosoever would be having BS4 vehicle. So after four, you see in India, in particular in some places, we are having a life of automotive vehicle 5 years or 6 years. in typical north zone like as Delhi, Haryana, Gurgaon, Faridabad, etc., you are having a life expectancy of this vehicle around 3 to 4 years. This depends on the life expectancy of the vehicle. When the life expectancy of vehicle reduces, the person who is owning the car will have to sell it in very much lesser price than what he has brought or what he has accepted, what he is expecting. That will be very less. So he won't be selling, or he will be directly switching to dealership for exchange. In exchange, they get the better price and better support from. They get new warranty, new schemes as well, and new vehicle as well. So yes, second-hand market will be affected, but around 5 years
Yes,
it will. After post 5 years, it will be affected.
yes, sir. So we can conclude our session,
Hello,
sir. For
Sahil,
our
your voice is not audible.
hello. Okay.
Yes,
Am I audible
Sahil.
now, sir? Sir, so we
Yes,
can conclude our session
your
now.
voice is distorting. Your
Wait, sir.
voice is
Wait.
distorting, Sahil. Your voice is breaking.
Hello. 2 minutes, sir.
Yes, Sahil, go on.
Am I audible now, sir?
Yes, you are audible now.
Sir, so we can conclude our session now. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and such a very informative session for the students as well. Thank you so much, sir. Hello, am I
Yes, thank
audible?
you so much, Sahil. I loved having an episode. Thank you, Sahil.
Okay, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Palo University, and thank you, Sahil, for introduction and support. Thank you, Sahil.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir.